Hello friends, this is Rishi Gupta and today I'm here with the book review, and the book that I'm going to be talking about is the final book in the Tales of the Otori, which incidentally is also the prequel to the other four books. This is the fifth book, which is called Heaven's Net is Wide. So guys, this is a prequel to the other four books, means there are pros and cons when you read this book. So whenever you are reading a prequel last, it was also released last, there are some advantages and disadvantages. So first of all, let me mention the advantages. So the good thing about this is that you get to know more about the characters that you have loved in the subsequent books. You get to know more about the incidents that were only mentioned in passing in the other books, and you get to live through them. So this is the good part. There is a sense of deja vu. There is a sense of recognition. There is a sense of, oh yeah, this is what this character had talked about in this particular book, and this has been explained now in detail. What's the context to some of the things that happened in the subsequent books? You are able to understand while reading the prequel. That is the good part. Every time a character is mentioned, every time something that you already know about a little bit, and it's mentioned in much more detail, you have a sense of realization. You have a sense of awe. This is where this particular fact came from. So that's the good part. The bad part is that you know everything that is going to happen because you have read the story that comes after this book. You have read four books that are set after the events of this particular book. So there are no surprises. Mostly there are absolutely no surprises in this prequel. You know pretty much everything that is going to happen. How it happens is something that you discover. So now this was a spoiler-free talk, but now I'm going to be talking about spoilers. So if you have not read the book, you can definitely exit. So this story follows the life of Lord Shigeru. So Shigeru has kind of been idolized, and he has kind of become a god in the subsequent books for the Otori because of the all the things that he has done, because of the sacrifices he has made, and because of the man he was, who cared about his subjects, who did everything he could to better their lives. So there are a few incidents, there are a few things that this book majorly covers, and these things were already mentioned in the four books that have already been released. So one of them, the most important probably, was the Battle of Yaegahara that was fought between the Otori and the Tohan, led by Ida Saddamu. So you knew that Ida Saddamu was this tyrant, this cruel person who was lusting after power and wanted to control all the three countries. But now you get to know more about the villain as well, why he was demonized, why he was said to be one of the most cruel people around, and now you get to know why, about the things that he has done, and now you get to know about the growth of Otori Shigeru right from birth. So how he learned his skills, from whom he learned, who were his teachers, what was his familial background, how was his relationship with his father, his uncles, his entire clan. So this is what this discovery, the journey of discovery about Shigeru's life, is what this book is primarily made of. And then there are certain incidents that are explained in much more detail, as I mentioned, Battle of Yaegahara. Apart from that, the relationship that develops between Otori Shigeru and Lady Maruyama is again very similar to relationship that was shown in the other books that existed between Takeo and Lady Shirakawa. So that I found a bit repetitive, even though it was hinted that it was a very passionate relationship. But again, it is one of the fallacies of the Otori men, probably, as has been mentioned, that they tend to fall for women in a way that makes them forget reason. And this is kind of what was happening with Shigeru as well as it happened with Takeo. The relationship was just too intense, and again reading about an intense relationship in a similar manner kind of got boring to me. I'm sorry to say that, but it really reminded me of Takeo and Kaede. It was a very similar relationship, the way they were bewitched by one another, the way they were attracted to one another, and the way Lian Hearn, the author, describes the relationship is extremely similar. So probably it was by intent or it was by accident, I don't know, but that was not very enjoyable. Apart from that, you get to know more about Takeshi, whose death has been mentioned in the subsequent books. But again, the fact that you know that he's going to die kind of takes away the charm of reading more about him. And you really don't get to know a lot about him, but yeah, you at least get to know something about the relationship between Shigeru and his brother Takeshi. So that pretty much is it. And the story leads up to exactly where the first book in the series, Across the Nightingale Floor, begins. And Shigeru meets Takeo, and they are are poised to do something which we read about in Across the Nightingale Floor. So this is pretty much what the story is. There is not a lot to it. There's not a lot of depth to it. I'll definitely admit that. But the joy of reading this book is about getting to know more about what you already know. So does that make sense? So whatever happened in the subsequent books, this is the background to it. This is the backstory to it, and it is a enjoyable read. I do admit that I kind of missed the surprises, the twists and turns, because I already knew that Battle of Yaegahara is going to be lost. Takeshi is going to die. Shigeru is going to form a friendship with Muto Kenji and Shizuka. So you already knew all of that. So you were just waiting for that to happen. So I did miss the intrigue, the suspense, the twist, that is for sure. But I did enjoy seeing how all of this developed. The friendship between Kenji and Shigeru, what kind of relationship Shizuka came to have with Shigeru, and all of that was pretty precious and nice to read. But again, it was nice. So not out of the world as a few of the other books were. So my recommendation would be, to anyone who's beginning this series, is to read this book first. So that will have the intrigue and the twists and the turns there, and you will have a logical sequence to it, rather than reading this prequel last, even though it was released last. So guys, that's my review of Heaven's Net is White by Lian Hearn. If you liked it, do tell me in the comments what you thought about the book, and if you like this video, please like, share, comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching this video. Take care.